In this video, we're going to continue our work converting units of area, but we're going to focus on units that represent larger areas. To measure larger areas, such as the area of a province or the area of a grazing lease, we use two metric units. One is the hectares or hectare, and one is square kilometers. The symbol for hectares is HA, and of course we've already been exposed to the simple symbol for square kilometers, and it's just kilometers with a 2 at the top. So the conversion facts for hectares is, we actually have two of them. The first one is 1 hectare is equivalent to 10,000 square meters. And the second fact is 1 square kilometers is equivalent to 100 hectares. Before we move on to some examples, I'd like us to visualize what 1 hectare actually looks like. To do that, I'm going to focus on the first conversion factor, this one right here. So what does 1 hectare look like? I'm going to start by drawing a square. And the area of the square is 1 hectare. The length of the square would be 100 meters, and the width of that square would be 100 meters. So the length and width are equivalent, and they're both equal to 100 meters. When you find the area, you would go 100 times 100 meters, and that would be 10,000 meters squared. So this is equivalent to 1 hectare. Now, in terms of the second fact, 1 square kilometers equals to 1 hectare, we're also going to visualize this by drawing a square. And the area of the square is going to be 1 square kilometer. Okay. The length of that square will be 10 hectares, and the width would be 10 hectares. So that is a gigantic square right there. And when we multiply those two together, length times width, remember, for area, 10 times 10 is equal to 100 hectares. And that's equivalent to 1 square kilometer. Okay? So these are very, very large areas that we are working with here. So now that we've visualized what a hectare looks like, let's move on to some examples. So the first example, a forest fire in northern Saskatchewan covered an area of 2,000 hectares. How many square kilometers did the fire cover? So what we're looking for here, the end result should be some area in square kilometers. That's what the question is asking. How many square kilometers? What do we know right now? We know the area in hectares. So we want to know what number is equivalent to 2,000 hectares. Okay? To do that, we need to know the conversion fact that relates hectares and square kilometers. Let's go to our conversion facts at the top. Here we go. This is my fact right here. 1 square kilometer is equal to 100 hectares. So I'm going to write that down underneath my number sentence, my question, but I'm going to write the hectares first because we need to line up our units. Now, what we've done earlier in other videos is we would find the conversion factor for length and then convert it to a conversion factor for area. We don't need to do that here. So this fact right here, this conversion fact, is already comparing units of area. This is an area and this is an area. They're not units of length. So when we determine what we need to do here to go from 100 to 1, I just need to do it once here, not twice, because both of these are units of area. Okay? So how do I get from 100 hectares to 1 kilometer? How does 100 become 1? The number is getting smaller. I divide by 100. So in my original question, I will also divide by 100, and I will do it once only. Because again, I already know the conversion fact for area. Okay? So 2,000 divided by 100, that equals 20. So 2,000 hectares is equal to 20 square kilometers. And we're done. We have solved this question. So I'm just going to summarize it into a sentence. I will say, the fire covered an area of 20 kilometers squared. All done. Now let's look at another example. And this example reads, a CFL football field is about 137 meters long and 59.5 meters wide. What is its approximate area in hectares? Round your answer to one decimal place. We'll worry about the rounding at the very end, okay? Let's just get to the answer first. Now, whenever you have a question that is talking about some sort of space or object and they give you the dimensions, sketch it first. It will make your life a lot easier. So here I know this football field is rectangular, so I'm going to start by drawing a rectangle. It doesn't have to be pretty, okay? Now I'm going to label this diagram. The length is 137 meters. Always write the units. The width is 59.5 meters. Okay. Now I can find the area of this rectangle. We know how to find areas of rectangles. The area is length times width. I know the length, I know the width, and that will give me the area inside. But what will the answer be in? And what units will it be in? The answer will be in square meters, because this number is in meters and this number is in meters. So we're able to find the area, but it'll just be in square meters. But the question is asking for the area in hectares, right? So that will be our next step. All right. So first step is find the area in square meters. The second step will be to take that number that we got in square meters and convert it into hectares. Okay. And then of course, the third step we will round. So let's begin. Step number 1, find the area in square meters. So the area of a rectangle is length multiplied by width. The length in this case is 137 meters. The width is 59.5 meters. Use your calculator and multiply those two numbers, and we should get 8,151.5 meters squared. All right, step number 1 is complete. We found the area in square meters. Now, step number 2 is to convert it into hectares. So I need to know the conversion fact that relates meters squared and hectares. So I'm going to go up to my table, and it says 1 hectare is equal to 10,000 meters. I'm going to write that down so I don't forget it. So 1 hectare is equal to 10,000 square meters. Okay, so now let me complete step number 2. I need to take this number, 8,151.5 square meters, and convert it into hectares. So I'm going to start by writing my fact at the bottom. So I'm going to start with this one first, because here meters squared comes first. 10,000 square meters equals 1 hectare. Okay, again, I will say this again. Here we're dealing with a conversion fact for area, and here for area. So once I determine what I need to do, say multiply by 10 or divide by 10, I don't need to do it twice, okay? Because these are both conversion facts for area. Okay, so now, how do I get from 10,000 to 1? I divide by 10,000. So here, I will divide by 10,000. That's it. I'm missing a 0. Here we go. So once you plug this into your calculator, you're going to go 8,151.5 divided by 10,000, and you should get 0.81515. Okay, so I'm going to write that down here again. The area is 81515 hectares. But remember, the question says round it to one decimal place. So round it to here. So we will round down. So this is approximately 0.8 hectares. And we're done. Now we just need to summarize it into a sentence. What was the question? Oh yes, the area of the football field. So the area of the football field is about 0.8 hectares. And we are done. All right. Now, what I'd like you to do is pause the video, try these two questions, draw diagrams when necessary, then play again to view the answers. Okay, so the solutions to these two questions are over here. You may pause and check your answers with what you already have. If you got stuck or if you struggled, please email one of your teachers.